Hello and welcome to a special collaboration episode of my Facts and Glitches series. For this episode, the GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 dataminer Rolls2282 has provided me with a ton of interesting discoveries about the game to blow your minds. This might shock you, but in GTA 5's game code, Rockstar has made it so that Michael, Trevor, and Franklin have a favorite body part to look at while looking at pole dancers. Franklin prefers to stare at their ass, Michael prefers to look at her boobs, and Trevor, fittingly, will stare at their feet. As weird as it is, I'm impressed that Rockstar went to the effort to add this kind of detail. And honestly, their decisions for the characters do make sense. GTA 5 surprisingly uses vehicles to place and track cinematic cameras. Take the mission Father-Son for example. The smooth camera shots tracking the boat turn out to be two invisible haulers following it. For your convenience, I have of course made them visible, and unsurprisingly the haulers do not have anyone inside them. Assuming these vehicles are necessary to get these camera angles, I can't say for certain why they chose haulers over any other vehicle. We can see the same phenomenon on the mission Legal Trouble. When you're chasing Molly, you can switch to see the news helicopter view, but the camera isn't actually attached to the helicopter at all. Instead, it's actually an invisible car strapped to the helicopter, following Molly around. Rockstar effectively used invisible vehicles as camera rigs, and nobody noticed for years. During normal GTA 5 gameplay, our player arrow is normally white and only changes to black if we gain a wanted level and hide from the cops by entering a new vehicle, going into a bush, or swimming deep underwater. This change works to tell the player that if they go into the cone of vision of the police, they are less likely to be noticed. This hiding mechanic also exists in GTA Online, but your arrow doesn't turn black. However, in the game's code, it seems that early on in development, Rockstar intended for our player arrow to turn a pale red when cops are after us. It's unclear whether this was cut on purpose or by accident. After all, they did break the arrow in GTA Online, maybe they broke this as well. Armored vehicles in GTA Online can take multiple explosions before blowing up, but there is actually a way to instantly destroy them. This can be achieved by attaching a sticky bomb to another player and waiting for them to enter their armored vehicle. Detonating this sticky bomb inside the vehicle destroys the vehicle instantly. Honestly, this does make sense, so it's an impressive detail for Rockstar to include in the game. Prior to the Merryweather Heist, Michael is advised by Trevor to prepare for it by taking flying lessons.
Hey, talk to Lester, he'll have a good angle on this.
Oh yeah, and how's your flying? You might need to take a few classes at flight school.
Why would I need to do that?
Trust me, you'll regret it if you don't. Gonna be just like old times, pal.
However, ignoring his suggestion has no meaningful consequences. All that happens is during the heist, Trevor scolds you for not doing them.
Were you too busy sipping mimosas by the pool to take your flying lessons?
Wait, hold on. You had the flying lessons, right?
Ah, the flying lessons. Right. You know, I was gonna have them, and then...
Oh, you total idiot!
To avoid this scolding from Trevor, all you have to do is complete the first two flying lessons at LSIA with either a silver or gold medal. This then results in different dialogue.
You had the flying lessons, right?
Hey, I came prepared. I didn't know what I was preparing for, but I'm feeling pretty confident in the air.
Good.
At least you listened to me and took those flying lessons. That's a good donkey.
However, if you only complete one flying lesson or score a bronze medal in one of the two, a rarely heard dialogue will play.
Wait, hold on. You had the flying lessons, right?
Yeah, I'd done some training, but it wasn't that clear what I was training for, so I didn't go crazy.
You didn't go crazy? This might be interesting.
Next time I tell you to take lessons in something, take a lot of lessons, you flake.
That the game requests for you to do these flying lessons at all is a bit strange, both because you're taught to fly way before this heist, and that the two lessons that you need to complete are just for taking off and landing with a plane. These lessons are obviously entirely irrelevant to the heist because Michael flies a helicopter. Maybe at some point in development the Merryweather Heist involved a plane, and therefore these flight lessons would have made more sense. Famously, at the end of GTA 5, we are given a psychological evaluation of us the player by Dr. Friedlander. Looking into the game's code reveals that what you see on each of these 15 lines depends on your actions during your playthrough, except the first line, which will give you one of these 20 options at random. Of the 20 options, my favorite is I sincerely hope someone arrests this maniac very soon. All of them simply communicate that Dr. Friedlander thinks you're crazy. The second line depends on what ending you picked. If you chose ending A to kill Trevor, you will get one of these 9 lines. For example, seems to want the easy way out of problems. If you chose ending B to kill Michael, you will instead get one of these 9 options. For example, incapable of sensible compromise. If instead you correctly picked ending C, you will get one of these 10 different lines. Given that this is the best ending, I'm surprised how much it mocks you for making it. For example, definitely incapable of making a real decision. The third line is dictated by which character you played the most. For Franklin, you will get one of these 12 lines, for example, fixated with youth. For Michael, you will get one of these 12 lines, for example, doesn't hate self as much as any sane person would. For Trevor, you get one of these 12 lines, for example, really has no sense of right or wrong. The fourth line depends on whether you spent over $1 million during gameplay. If you did, you will get one of these 13 lines, for example, throws money around very freely, suggests sexual inadequacies, must investigate further. If you did not spend over $1 million, you will get one of these 12 lines, for example, terrified of life. The fifth line is determined by whether or not you've had 3 or more lap dances or spent over $100 in the strip club, including both pole dancer tips and drinks. If you didn't do this, you will get one of these 11 lines, for example, repressed in some ways, mostly sexual, definitely a confusing area, must investigate further. If on the other hand you did, you'll get one of these 12 lines, for example, desperate for female attention. The sixth line is whether you have used the services of a prostitute. If you have, you will receive one of these 12 options, for example, sexual risk taker, advise them to get tested, probably got a lot of dodgy diseases. If you have not, you'll get one of these 12 lines, such as, possibly homosexual, not sure they even know, imagine we will chat for many years, then they'll run off with a trucker. The seventh line relates to whether or not you spent time with Michael's family. You could either hang out with Amanda or Jimmy multiple times, or do the optional rescue side missions for Amanda, Jimmy, and Tracy. If as Michael you did either of these things, you get one of these 12 lines. For example, loves family, having met them, not sure quite why. If however you ignored Michael's family, you'll receive one of these 12 options. For example, must try to teach that there are other living creatures on the planet. The eighth line simply checks if the player browsed the in-game stock market website for more than 2 minutes. If you have, you'll receive one of these 12 options, such as greedy, prone to gambling, likely cause of addiction, remember to sell book. If you have not, you'll receive one of these 12 lines. For example, avoids things they do not understand, which means a lot of things get avoided. The ninth line counts if you've killed over 100 pedestrians with all 3 characters combined. If you killed over 100 pedestrians, you'll receive, again, one of 12 options. For example, possibly worst psychopath I've encountered. If you did not kill over 100 pedestrians, you'll receive one of these 12 lines, such as, at least tends to kill with reason, not good reason, but some kind of reason. The 10th line relates to stolen vehicles. If you stole over 100, one of these 12 lines can appear. For example, desperately dishonest and violent regarding property of others. If you stole under 100 vehicles, one of these 12 lines can appear, such as, tends not to steal too much, more than the situation requires. Is that a good thing? I have no idea anymore. The 11th line checks whether you've fully completed the optional yoga minigame. If you have, one of these 12 lines will appear, for example, classic San Andrean, murderer into new age exercise. If you didn't complete it, you'll receive one of these 12 options, such as, thought yoga was beneath them, prefers mass murder as a way of calming the nerves. The 12th line looks at whether or not you have above 50% strength, stamina, and lung capacity with all 3 characters. If you do, you get one of these 10 lines, for example, in good physical shape, in bad mental state. If you did not, you receive one of these 12 options, such as, definitely not a fitness freak, just a freak. The 13th line checks whether you've completed 10 random encounters, those being security vans, stolen purses, stolen bikes, those sorts of things. If you have done so, you'll receive one of these 12 lines, for example, outgoing and friendly, in a terrifying kind of way. On the other hand, if you haven't done so, you'll receive one of these 12 lines instead. For example, seems to prefer a predictable life to the chaos of real life, unless they are the one causing the chaos. The 14th line checks if you've completed the entirety of either the Submarine, Epsilon, Murder Mystery, or Space Parts side missions. If you do complete at least one, you'll receive one of these 10 options, for example, likes to see boring tasks to their bitter end. If you don't complete any of these tasks though, you'll receive one of these 11 options, for example, not bothered with tasks they deem boring. Similar to the first line, the 15th line, which is the last line, is completely random. No action you take in the game affects which of these 23 lines you get. My favorite is, in my professional opinion, this one is a fucking nutjob. As with the first Venom line, this just communicates that regardless of what you do, Dr. Friedlander will always think you're crazy. With the amount of lines and the amount of options given for those lines, there are technically trillions of possible psychological evaluations that a person could receive at the end of the game.
See? Treatment works when you try.
If you spectate a player in GTA Online and they start a test drive at Simeon's, the map will stop loading for you as the player is driving around.
Idiots!
This can easily be fixed by exiting spectator mode or when the player finishes the test drive. Regardless, it's still a funny bug. If during a hangout with Franklin and Michael, you watch Meltdown at the cinemas, Michael has a rarely heard line where he expresses that he loves the movie.
I am so proud of that movie. You see? That's the movie I made.
Also, if you do the cinema's aerial promotion mission as Michael, there is a 1 in 3 chance for Michael to say this.
Out now at the Top Floor Cinema in Vinewood. Meltdown, one of the greatest movies ever produced. Showing now at the Tivoli Cinema in Morningwood. Meltdown, by up-and-coming producer Michael DeSanta.
I'd be surprised if you even knew this mission existed. An aspect of GTA 5 single player that most people never explore is the player businesses. One of these is the Scrapyard, and when bought the game tells us the weekly profit will be variable dependent upon how many cars have been destroyed in San Andreas. Through testing and looking through the game's code, it seems this is actually true. The business gives you $150 per vehicle destroyed to a maximum of $5,000 weekly. This is obviously not very much, especially when you consider that a week in the game is 5.6 hours in real life. Everyone's favorite GTA 5 mission, Scouring the Ports, where we scout a port, was originally intended to be longer. One segment of this mission involves us following Floyd as he slowly walks through the ports. It turns out that we can see in the game's code that a part at the start of this walk was removed. Originally, Floyd was going to wait for some trucks to pass by. One of them was going to drop a box, and he would pick it up to return it. His attempt, however, would be stopped by another shoreman who would snatch the box off him and open it. I think the removal of this sequence suggests that even Rockstar recognized that this mission was kinda dull, so they tried to speed it along at least a bit. For some reason, while you're driving a tank, if an iron mule picks you up, the game will force you into first-person mode. Why did Rockstar program it this way? Who knows? The mission Predator has a few deleted lines. While flying to Ratton Canyon, Trevor says,
I'm sorry I'm a human being with thoughts and feelings and emotions.
In the release version, Michael doesn't respond to this and instead talks about the helicopter.
Wait a second. I remember this chopper.
However, Michael actually did have response to what Trevor said, it was simply removed.
Oh, sure. You got feelings. Torture. Kill. Cannibalize.
Additionally, later on, there was supposed to be a conversation between Michael and Franklin where Lamar is mentioned. Unfortunately, only Michael's lines remain from this conversation in the game's files.
Hey, Frank, is that your dog? Lamar? Yeah, Lamar, of course. I mean, I know Lamar, I just don't know Lamar, you know? Yeah, well, regardless, you can keep that dog away from me, Frank. Dude looks mean.
There are actually multiple lines in the game where Michael and Lamar reference each other, but in a way that highlights that they haven't actually met.
Hey man, where that other dude? The dude that creeped on that dude.
Michael, his creeping days are done.
He like retired? The boy Frank didn't mention shit about that. And as a matter of fact, I don't even know the dude. But considering the mutual acquaintances we got, I would have liked an invite to the retirement party.
There weren't no party.
No party?
Despite that these cut lines play into this humorous observation, I guess they thought it slowed down the segment too much to keep them in. So that's the end of the episode. Thank you for watching. If you think you know of anything that will be of interest to this series, feel free to add it to my Discord. Especially if you know any out of bounds glitches, because we used 2 of those an episode, we are running out. Thanks for watching, and I wish you all the best.